Hello to everyone who has tuned into this. This is a brand new series that we'll be doing on the Hull and Back podcast. So to start off, I want to say a massive thank you to all the guys from the channel who have allowed us to use this platform to spread awareness about the Hair Game 2 campaign. So today we have a special guest who's willing to basically come on and talk about her experiences, what she likes about football and how she got into it. So this is Abby. So Abby, thank you so much for joining me basically on this first episode.
Thanks for having me. It's going to be different. Not done anything like this before. So yeah, looking forward to doing it.
Oh, I'm sure you'll be fine. Honestly, I think that I'm just as nervous as what you are. But yeah, so for those of you who are kind of tuning in and you're not familiar with the Hair Game 2 campaign, so we basically are aiming to eradicate sexism in all areas of football, and we want to champion the women in all the areas too. So say, for instance, the females who play football, who support it, who maybe do physio or anything like that, just to kind of make them feel safe and included within the sport. We've also branched out from football to rugby and cricket as well, and hopefully in the future we'll be going down different revenues as well. So we do have hundreds of partnerships already completed, including like plenty from grassroots all the way up to Premier League. We've managed to successfully get 67 out of 92 clubs as well on board. So hopefully this time, even next season, we'll be saying like we've either completed it, that would be such an amazing like aim to achieve, or will be somewhat around like nearly completion of all 92 clubs. So Abby, what's kind of your, like what's your position within football? Like, are you a fan? Do you play it yourself or?
Sorry. So I'm obviously a Hull City fan.
Yeah.
I'm not the very sporty type, but yeah, I've pretty much liked football as long as I can remember. I'm a Hull supporter that lives in Worcester of all places, but my family originate from the sort of Hull Beverley area on my dad's side, so I kind of just grew up in like a footballing family with my dad and my two older brothers. My dad and my oldest brother, both City fans, and I think I must have gone to my first game with them when I was about 10, 11 years old. Just because my dad thought it would be more appropriate if I was in high school, I think. And like such a little child, I guess.
Yeah.
Just because it's quite overwhelming, especially, for females. And yeah, it was just my dad and my brother that used to go with me. I think my first game was Coventry away at the old Rico Arena. I don't really remember anything about it, the score or anything, but I remember really enjoying it and wanting a shirt straight away after I watched the games. Yeah, I think that's really what got me into it. And now I love watching it live or even on TV. As soon as they're on the Sky Sports, I'm like, oh, let's go watch City on Sky, just because I can't really access it at home. From where I do, it's about 3.5 hours away. So I usually just go to away games, like the close ones like West Brom and stuff, and still Cardiff, that sort of lot. But I think I've travelled quite far as well for City games with my brother. I think the furthest we've been is Preston North End. So that's obviously quite far, but
it's far from you, isn't it?
An interesting game. So yeah, it's sort of just a family thing. Grew up with it, and I've enjoyed it ever since. And I'm probably the only one in my friendship group of the girls that actually like football. So
I can completely relate to that.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm so glad I got my brother and my dad and my partner. He's not a Hull fan, but I bring him to games anyway. He's a Stick City fan. We'd have to talk about that.
No.
Again, he just sits there and he sort of joins in, but not much. But it does make things interesting when we play Stick though. But yeah, so that's about it really.
Yeah, I can completely relate to what you mean by like you wish that you could go watch your club, but you're just too far away. Like, I am a Hull City member. Like, I pay for my membership. I take my little girl with me to games because we like to just watch live football, really. And like you, I used to go watch City with my dad and my brother when I was younger. But as I kind of got to like high school, that kind of it just kind of stopped. I kind of lost a bit of interest really. And then as I kind of left school, I got back into football. So I'm actually a Tottenham Hotspur fan, but obviously Spurs is, like you said, like 3 hours away. It's the not cost of, like the price of it to even get down south is so much money, as it probably will be for you to come up. So yeah, I kind of just do the same really as what you do, like just watch them from the telly, or do you like communicate them with City fans online and things like that?
Yeah, so I've actually made a few friends just through. I'm in like the whole City supporters club on Facebook. It's just like
Yeah.
a group on Facebook. Like,
Is it there's the forum as well, isn't there, on Facebook, the whole City forum?
I can't remember the exact name of it, but I think that might be the one that's like most active, let's call it.
Yeah.
And I've actually met a few friends through there, boys mostly.
Yeah.
Around my age. There's one called Jack, and he literally lives in Hull. Like, he goes to every game. I'm sure he's got a screen for this. And
Yeah.
he'll probably be really pleased that I've just shouted him out. But
yeah, by all means, if there's anyone that you want to give a shout out to, if they're listening, go for it. Just say whatever you want on here.
One of my best friends now, I'd say. We only really see each other at away games, but we talk quite a lot on socials and stuff. Like, we're always meshing about games and stuff, and asking, "Oh, are you going to this game?" or "Well, I'll be there," kind of thing. So
yeah,
it's nice to have somebody that I can talk to that isn't from the area, and I can know, like, if I go up there, you know, for a weekend or even just overnight one day just to watch the game,
yeah,
I've got somebody there who'll be welcoming and friendly and talk to me and go to the game with me. So it is nice having that sort of support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever wanted to go to a game, as I say, I have the membership myself, so I'm more than happy to meet up with you like before it and stuff. You don't have to be nervous or anything. I think as well, it's comforting as well, isn't it, when you have like a familiar face or someone with you, especially like you say, as a woman, it's not the easiest attending matches, especially if you're not familiar with the ground or anything like that. It can be quite daunting, especially because it's quite a male dominated sport, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. Pretty much, I would say like 80 to 90% is men. So
yeah, there's definitely a lot more than women.
I'm not sure exactly what I'm, but you look in most places, it is just, even like away games I've been to, there's the odd like women and the supporters, or you know, female teenager, but most of them come with their partners or their families. I mean, they all wear whole City shirts, so I'm assuming they're fans themselves, but you never know, do you? They could just be there because they're for, like, just to support their partners or their kids or something. But yeah, it is quite strange going somewhere where it's mostly men. I think it's quite intimidating at times, and not saying like they're scary, but the whole situation is just because it's unusual. Especially when you're surrounded by females where you are normally. Like, my workplace is mostly female, so it's quite interesting just having a different side of things, really. And most of the people are all right, I've noticed. They're usually quite get you involved, but there's the odd couple who are a bit like unsure of why you're there, I think.
I understand what you mean completely. Like I say, I take my little girl, and even like we sit in the south stand, so that's more of like the family dominated area. So thankfully, like, we've never been, when we've gone to games, we've not been subjected to any form of abuse, and we've never really had any funny looks. But obviously that's not to say that hasn't happened, you know, to other people or anything. But I bet it was kind of like a bit of a relief for you then, knowing that Hull City partnered with Hair Game 2 last year. And we are actually working with the club to try and, you know, put a stop to any females who do feel uncomfortable at the ground or anything like that. And we will be kind of touching base with them again, I'm pretty sure, before the end of this season, just to kind of see where we're at, really. I know that we've got a new ambassador. We've got Jeff, and we've also got someone who does it alongside him called Amy. So obviously, if you ever come to a game or even away games, I know Amy goes to pretty much every single away game. By all means, like, you can always reach out to her. She's more than happy probably to meet up with you as well, so that way you feel a bit more comfortable. So yeah, we do have like a nice little team in place. And Bobby, she's still with us. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Bobby. She was the original ambassador for Hull City. She does go to some games. She's quite a busy person, bless her, but when she can go, she does go, and she's really friendly. If ever you wanted to like meet up with her as well, I'm sure she wouldn't mind. But yeah, we do kind of have some things in place as well for if ever you are coming back to the MKM. I nearly said KC then, but obviously
You know,
they've,
I keep calling it
yeah,
that as well.
can't call it that now. Yeah, just a habit.
I think it's just like I would go to more. I think I would go to more like games on my own, but it is the fact like I don't know.
It's quite daunting, isn't it? Like the thought of it, yeah.
I don't know, especially in a place like if I've not been before, like it's all right if
Yeah.
I'm in somewhere I know, like Bristol. I have family. I used to have family down in Bristol, and my partner's family, so I know the place quite well. And there's people there I can reach out to if I did need somebody for whatever reason. But if I went to like a London game or somewhere up north where I've got nobody that I know, I think I would struggle. So it is really nice to know that there's people out there that would happily like meet up with me for the game or something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what we're here for. You know, we want people to feel safe. Yeah. No, I can completely understand where you're coming from.
Because I feel like I'm just relying on my brother otherwise a lot of the time, and he's busy, and he's moved to Newport now, so like he's quite away from me, so I don't really go into as many games on this side of the country as he used to. So well, I'm not sure, but I think he's going to struggle, I think, to go to more games now, but it is what it is. So knowing that I can meet somebody will make me feel a lot better, I think, about going somewhere on my own.
Yeah, definitely. Like where I sit with Faith, my daughter, we sit quite near the stairs. There's like 2 seats that are taken by 2 of the members, and then there's us 2, and then there's like 3 spare seats, which are pretty much always empty. I know that they're taken for this game that we've got coming up against Rotherham, but usually they're quite empty. So by all means, like if ever you do want to come to a home game, like you could always reach out to me. You've got my number. Just text me and we'll be there anyway. Or even if she can't make it, you know, you can always still come along or whatever. I'm happy to meet up with you. It's all right. Would you say then that you've kind of, obviously barring like the distance and stuff, have you ever, even just supporting online or anything like that, have you ever been subjected to any form of sexism or just any abuse in general? Or
I think it's more like I've seen, I mean, maybe not so personally, but I have seen like in general, like people making comments like that women don't know things about football that men do, or like we should comment on stuff that they do because we don't understand it as much as them, even though we obviously do. And like the whole offside rule thing is one of the main things I've noticed as well. But I'm sure there's plenty of guys out there who don't know the offside rule themselves. So so that's kind of one of the main things that like gets me more is like how like we're literally the same, like we're all human, aren't we? So we all can learn things and understand things. Like sex is smarter than the other, so why shouldn't we understand things that they do, especially with things that we play as well? Like obviously women's football's quite behind men's football, but that's because they started later. But it doesn't mean that they don't understand how it works and things like that. Maybe they're not educated in the fact it's wrong. And like maybe they've just not been told that, or you know, been brought up to think it's wrong, and that's not necessarily their fault. So but at the same time, if we can prevent it happening, or like just make people aware that it isn't always, you know, suitable or responsible, then that's the main thing, I guess, is to sort of prevent it happening, and then it'll be easier for everyone in a way. So
definitely, I'm sure this happens literally. There'll be something like this for every club, won't they? I think this is just kind of something that comes with, unfortunately, one thing that we've noticed, when you are a female, you are subjected to quite a lot, and it's not just abuse. A lot of the time it is like derogatory comments and things like that.
I've noticed like recently on Twitter is quite bad for it, and like Facebook and stuff, like specifically regarding the actual female, like, you know, footballers, like especially the England national team, the Lionesses. There's a lot of comments about them, especially when they're like in their, you know, kits and stuff, if you know what I'm getting at. And I just think that is so like disrespectful to them.
Yeah, of course, because they're there to play football, aren't they? They're not there to have they're not there to have their body commented on or anything like that. They're there because they enjoy the sport. And I think you're right in what you're saying.
I think that would, if I was in that position, I think I wouldn't like that. Not saying that a lot of, I'm sure they know how to handle it themselves and they just ignore it, but we shouldn't have to. At the end of the day, we shouldn't have to feel like the men or whoever, not just men I guess, but people are there just to watch us because they like the the bodies and stuff rather than the
Yeah.
actual talent, because these women are talented, whether people like to believe it or not.
Yeah.
So that's another thing as well. The whole lionesses situation, people look like, I've seen people shaming it on Twitter saying, "Oh, women's football's this, that, and the other," and it's not like, they obviously haven't watched it enough to appreciate it,
Yeah.
and they're obviously comparing it to men's football, and you can't really compare the two because they're so different. The whole teams are different, the way we play is different and
That's
stuff.
it. Yeah.
So
One thing that I really liked personally was when it was International Women's Day earlier this month, her game 2 had teamed up with, I think it was just over 40 clubs, including Premier League ones as well. It was a massive, like, it was such a huge hit, and they did like dedicated game fixtures, and that was both like whether there was double headers or just to kind of just share the awareness really surrounding the campaign and the support for the campaign. And a lot of the team would kind of wear like the logo on like their training tops and things like that. And we managed to really get like a lot of females on board from doing that, and just spreading that kind of awareness was fantastic. We, some clubs, I can't think of them off the top of my head, but I can always like add it in a little bit later. Some clubs did give away free tickets to female fans, and we would go to the games and we'd speak to like first time fans who had just gone, like some women, it was their first game. And it was a huge success. Like some of them have even like got memberships and things, or they're talking about getting new season tickets or just attending more and stuff. And that's exactly what we want. Like, we want people to feel comfortable, and if they know that there is that kind of support out there for them and that they're not alone in wanting to go, that's what we want. And it's stuff like this, like the Hullenbach allowing us to use this platform to spread word, and obviously people like yourself who are coming on and sharing your experiences and stuff. Like, if even one person, like female of any age, tunes in, listens, or for instance a bloke and he's got like a daughter or a niece or his missus or whatever, just anyone, if they can encourage another female to come just from listening to this, that's what we want, isn't it? We just want people to feel comfortable. And obviously more females that attend the games, the better, really. Because like we say, obviously this is a game for everyone. This isn't one thing that a lot of people tend to forget when it comes to the campaign, is they think it's kind of like a her game instead of just her game too. They think that we want to kind of take over and all the rest of it. And that's not what we want. We don't want it to be just for females, we want females to be included and to be as respected as what the males are and stuff.
I do find, like, as well, going to matches, I have to be careful where I sit. I usually just sit at the front by the goal, because especially at the away games, because I just like be able to see better. I haven't got a really sight, so it helps for that. But the atmosphere for me is better down at the front. There's more families and children. There's less rowdy people, let's call them. And I think I have sat at the back before with my brother and my dad, and it can get quite out of hand with like shouting and jumping about and stuff. And sometimes I've been a bit like, don't go near me in case you knock me over or something, or end up accidentally. And I just feel a bit like fragile. Like, I'm not like really petite or anything, but I'm only 5'3", so I'm quite small.
You feel quite vulnerable, don't you?
And obviously a lot of them are quite like muscular or like really tall and broad, and it's just a bit like, oh, I feel really like everyone's so much taller than me, and it just makes me feel a bit uncomfortable sometimes there as well. So I try and get in the front if I can, where it's a bit more chill and people are sitting down and there's actually some more children, so people more my height. And there was another thing, when I went to the Birmingham City game away this season, there were some of those smoke bombs thrown as well, and I just wish people wouldn't do that. I could get there excited and stuff, but I just feel like
it can be quite triggering, can't it, as well?
Yeah, so I was sat next to a dad and this little boy. He must have only been like 7 or 8, my little boy's age as well. And I would have not liked it if it came near him. And it just stank, and it made my eyes burn. And they didn't realise it can actually be dangerous or hit somebody on the head or something. I know they're not very heavy probably. I don't know what they feel like or anything, but it's just it makes other people uncomfortable, and they don't realise that either, and it can put people off coming to games. and I still talk about it now. Like, it made my partner's clothes stink for days on end after, and it's just, I just don't think it's necessary for them to do that. There's other
I think
ways
a lot of clubs are touching down on it now, aren't they? Like, I know, is it Middlesbrough who have banned the smoke bombs and vapes in stadiums as well? I think it could be Middlesbrough who have just started. I'm not too sure. I would probably have to double check, but there has been something recently on social media. Yeah,
I just feel like it's getting worse, and I don't know why. I think, but I feel like, and then the stewards and stuff think you're the one that's thrown it because it's next to you, and I'm like, but it isn't, and I don't want to get risk kicking out because someone else has thrown it and it's just landed near me. Because that's not fair, is it? Like, why should I be punished for something that I haven't done? Not saying that everyone does it. There's only the odd one or two that do it. I don't know who they are. I've never met them or spoke to them, so I don't even know what they look like or anything. But I think it's always the same people or person that does it every away game, I've noticed. I would say, because it always comes from the back, like a similar area, which is like joined with the whole I don't like going at the back sort of situation.
Right, I see.
Up there, so they kind of go hand in hand, I guess.
Yeah.
From my point of view, anyway. People might disagree with me, but that's just how I feel it is, anyway.
No, it's your opinion. Honestly, that's what this is for. You know, you can say whatever you want. I've done a couple of away games, but not many with Hull City. And my last away game was the Stoke game, and I don't recall seeing any there. But I do know that a lot of the other clubs, they do tend to use quite a lot. And there was something online. I don't know if it was. I'm just trying to think if it was maybe the Rochdale. Somebody who has connections with the campaign. One of their friends got one of them smoke bomb things, and she started having a seizure. Yeah, I think she's okay now, bless her. But yeah, she has connections with the campaign, and when we all found that out, that was scary because obviously, like you said, people don't know what underlying health conditions people have and things like that. And yeah, you know, from top of the stadium, it might look good to see it down and you've got your pitch and everything, but those people who it's going near, you know, you don't know who or how it could affect them.
I know there was one game my brother went to. I didn't go. I think it was Sheffield away.
Yeah.
And they let one off, like, but in the foyer bit where the food and drink stands are, like those, and it set the fire alarm or smoke alarm off or something, and then they had to close. This was before the game as well. They weren't allowed to buy anything from the people because they closed them all down because they thought it was like a genuine like fire or something. So that just ruined the whole game for every single fan there because they couldn't buy their match day pints. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they couldn't even get a bottle of water. And that, like, children and people with, like, you know, who might have diabetes or something. I mean, you'd hope they've got their own, like, source of water or something, but you can't guarantee that. And they might need to go and get something to eat quickly, like a, you know, chocolate bar or something, or just even some water or some juice, and then they can't even have that.
Yeah, I know you're not allowed to bring you're not really allowed to bring your, I don't know if it's the same when you're diabetic, but I know that a lot of stadiums don't let you bring your own drinks and not even bottles of water, do they? I know that I've had bottles of water confiscated, especially when, like, even when my little girl's been holding a bottle of water, it's been confiscated, or if it's been like in a personal bottle, they've had to like unscrew it, pour the water out, and then say, you know, refill it inside.
Yeah, it's just unnecessary, isn't it? So like it's just another thing that just makes it uncomfortable for other people, and they don't even think about that either. So I think people need to be more aware of what their actions might cause, like consequence wise, and who they're actually affecting, because they're not just affecting themselves. And obviously if they land on the pitch as well, it's affecting the players, and they might have to stop the game briefly because of it, and it's just a waste of time for everyone. So
you're not wrong. Yeah, one thing that we've done is we teamed up with British Transport Police, and we've also teamed up with, what they're called, it's the FPU, I think it's the Footballing Policing Unit, and also Kick It Out. I don't know if you're familiar with Kick It Out. A lot of clubs kind of have got like a partnership link with them, so we're kind of working with them basically to try and stop just things like this. But obviously with this campaign, I don't think there's much really we can do in sense of like when it comes to like flares and what have you. I think we just kind of tackled, you know, the comments that women will face and
Yeah.
like actions. We did a survey actually. I think it was, I don't know if it was last year or the year before. And we wanted to hear people's experiences, like within what abuse they might have had within football. And even we were surprised, but it's not even just verbal abuse that women get. Like, I won't say any names, but someone who we know on the campaign, she was actually like subjected to physical abuse as well. And someone else on one of there's a quote about it, and I'm sure it's on our social media. And they also was like threatened to be sexually assaulted as well by like the away fans. And it seems like this is something that people don't even think about when they think about like stuff like what the campaign are trying to prevent. But this is real, like this happens, and not everybody realizes it. And this is what we're trying to, you know, kind of make people aware of, so that we're like, even when you're walking, if someone says like, I don't know, get your tits out or starts chanting it, if you're walking with a child as well, like not only do you feel uncomfortable, but you feel uncomfortable that that child is listening. And if you're walking with like a little boy and, you know, he sees a grown man chanting that when he goes to football when he's older, if he continues going, he might think that that's the way to behave. And it's obviously not okay. And this is what we need to kind of work together to put a stop to. And thankfully, our hopes are that seeing people like famous footballers wearing the logo and stuff, that might encourage like the younger generation to kind of look up, because obviously these are their idols, aren't they? So if they're going to see like their idols wearing something like this, they might think, oh, you know, what do they do? What's that? What they're wearing? What's that for? And then if you say, oh, well, you know, they support women, you know, they are happy for girls to attend football games, then they might think, oh, actually, yeah, you know, I support girls. Do you know what I mean? Things like that.
I do think it helps, like when, like in Premier League, and they have like, I saw it the other day, and Harry Kane in the England game, he brought his little girl out onto the pitch, you know, on the walkout.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
that was so lovely to see, like his own child as well. And you know, maybe she'll get involved when she's older, if she likes football.
Yeah, well, Kane, his wife, Kate and Harry used to play football when they was younger. I'm sure they was on the same football team. I'm pretty sure that could be actually how they met. There's a picture and it surfaces every now and then actually. And it's like those two and then David Beckham's in the middle. And them two are really young in it. Yeah, and obviously now she's his wife and they've got two little girls themselves and like a little boy. And obviously that's big footsteps for them to go into if any of them three want to go into football.
That'd be so nice. And it's just nice seeing like the little girls walking out with their, like, you know, especially Premier League idols, or like their England national team idols, or even like other country idols. And the way they look up at them is just like, wow, I'm really here with you.
Yeah.
And you're like this amazing famous footballer, and I can't even imagine what that's like, but I wish I had that chance when I was little. I think I would have really enjoed it.
Yeah, like a match day mascot.
Yeah, I think if more little girls can do that as well, I think it will open our eyes to the games as well.
Oh, definitely.
I know pretty good with like their little. I think I do like little days where little youngsters, like, you know, my little boy's age is like 8, can go and like kind of kick around and stuff. And a lot of them in the photos I saw were little girls as well, which was really good, I thought. So I think that's also just like promoting that they do this as well to help girls get into football and stuff. And obviously at school we used to play it, but only like once a year, like one term a year.
That was like because we literally never played football. No,
we were always stuck with like hockey and netball and tennis, and I hated tennis and stuff like that. We used to play rounders and, you know, football, but we didn't really get the chance. I think that's why I never really got into it as like a proper sport, because we just weren't given the opportunity. And I don't even know, I'm sure they probably do it now, but this was like 10 years ago when I left school, so they probably do it a lot more now than they used to. But I don't even remember if we had a, you know, ladies football team after school. I think it was just hockey and netball again. Obviously there was like local teams and stuff, but I didn't really know enough about them. I just don't think there's enough awareness of them. Like, it might be different like from where I live to other places, but you don't really hear a lot about the women's football leagues or anything, you know, like fantasy
Yeah,
leagues
you
or
don't
anything.
really.
You don't hear anything at all. Like I
Yeah.
always see the men's ones advertised, but never the women's. Just don't know if people aren't going or they just don't talk about it or anything like that. So I think if we're able to, you know, sort of maybe, I don't know, not team up with them, but sort of share their posts and stuff and say, oh, this is what
Yeah,
women
yeah.
do,
This
that
is
would be really
actually
good
what
as well.
Yeah, this is actually what Hair Game 2 do. So on our social media, so like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, things like that, we have so much content because we support a lot. I think we've definitely got over 100 grassroots partnerships, and a lot of those are female teams. And we actually we did like we managed to raise a generous amount of money, and we donate the money like into getting like football kits and stuff, or like we'll get like cones, or you know, provide like flags or just things like that, or water bottles. And like obviously we're a non-profit organization, so any money
Yeah.
that we do get from like even selling like I've got the Hair Game 2 hoodie on at the minute. Obviously people who are just listening on the audio, you guys won't see, but um but yeah, so like any profits or whatever that we do make, it all goes into like a pot, and like a bit further down the line we tend to like spend it on those on
Yeah.
football like teams for little girls and what have you. And as you was mentioned, like the education side of it, like at schools, this is also something that we've started to touch base with. So we have actually linked up with a couple of schools now, and you know, we go in with we've got like this document that we'll play, and with us linking up with a few organizations who help us with it, we kind of explain obviously not only like what we do, but what kind of benefits that they might get from it as well. Obviously, like, yeah, it's great for your physical education and like your fitness and stuff, but I think for a lot of girls, it like when you're at that age and you want to play football, but there isn't many girls who want to do it with you, knowing that you've got that kind of support group, or like knowing that there's other teams out there that would be happy to have you like join with them, that's going to be such like a big relief, I guess, in a way as well. Because obviously, like you said, like when we were young, even when I was younger, like there wasn't many at all. I know so many girls now who probably would be in like a ladies football team now, that when we was younger, they would have been probably the only girl on the squad. They would have been in an all boys team. So yeah, it's definitely something that this is something that we are trying to work with. It's like going back to when we was talking about the male dominated industry, like workplaces, we've teamed up with what's the campaign called? The organisation, I think it's called Menopause in Work, and basically we're working with those to go into these places and educate them, like the men at these places, so that way they know how to support the females, like their female staff.
Yeah.
So like especially when they're going through menopause or pregnancy or anything like that, or if they even want to talk about football, for example, or anything, you know, we're more than happy to have that kind of those other connections that can help us like do this and get the word out as well. So that's really good. There is a lot of things that we are trying to, you know, tackle through this, but obviously, unfortunately, things don't just happen overnight.
Slow progress, but in the long run, it'll be better for everyone, really.
Oh, definitely. Like the campaigns hit off so much from when it first started. Like even there was 13 founders to begin with, and there's absolutely like even now they're like, it's such a pinch me moment to look at where we are now compared to whereabouts we was in 2021. You know, when the original ladies who put the campaign together, like even amazes them. So it's definitely, it's coming a lot, like it's progressing, I should say, a lot faster than what we anticipated it to, but we're happy about this, so it's really good. Would you have any advice, kind of like either to your younger self or to any viewers who are kind of tuning in who would maybe like to get into football or anything like that? Like, have you got any advice to those?
Yeah, I would just say go for it, because
Yeah.
you won't know until you try it. And if you can, like, not even just prove to yourself, but prove to other people, that especially other females, that you can do it and you will do
Yeah.
it, and nothing's going to stop you. I think that's the main thing. Like, maybe if I could go back to high school and actually, play properly, then maybe I would, not saying I'd be any good, but you never know. I would be actually like either just like amateur or semi footballer now, I don't know. But
Yeah.
again, if I had the opportunity, maybe I would have done that. And I just think people shouldn't be embarrassed about wanting to do it and like standing up for themselves to say, look, I'm going to do this, whether it's
Yeah.
their parents, their friends, and sort of who look down at it and say, oh, but you're a girl, you can't do this, or
Yeah.
you're a girl, you shouldn't be playing football, or you don't know anything about football. Well, you just say, well, here's what I do know and this is what I'm going to do, and just go for it. I think a lot of life is around that sort of like sort of, what's the phrase, mindset, sorry. And
Yeah.
like, just do what you want, and if you've got a dream and your dream is to be a female footballer, then go for it. I mean, look at all the Lionesses. They all started off in school probably, or college, and now that they speak about how proud of themselves they are, and they should be, because they've achieved so much in the past few years, especially the Euros and stuff. And I actually watched the Lionesses games when it was at the Bet365 in Stoke, and I think they won like 10-0 or 10-1, and I was just like mind blown.
I actually remember that result coming in. Yeah.
And obviously Jill Scott being an I'm a Celebrity, that's actually really helped, I think, as well.
I think that was huge. Yeah.
Reality TV is a load of rubbish, but people forget just normal people though, and they're still people's lives and occupations. And she won, obviously that was great for women in general, and also for female football, because she sort of made more of a name for it now, I think, somehow, just by being on that show. And she's talked about even now, and it was like last year, she's still being talked about it. And I've seen her pop up here and there on like punditry and stuff. She was I think I was watching the England game on Channel 4 last week or something, and she was there just on the pitch, like having a and I was like, oh, it's Jill.
Yeah, it's honestly amazing, isn't it, to see all these female commentators and presenters, and even the football players, like you said, Jill, like just getting involved in things. It makes a big difference, doesn't it, from when we was growing up and watching telly. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think a massive role model as well, like an inspiration to a lot of females who want to kind of get into that kind of industry, as well as people like Laura Woods and Alex Scott. And
Alex Scott, yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she is.
About to say about her. She's on the commentary, and she's on, isn't she on? She's on the FIFA 23 game as well as a commentator on now, I think.
Oh, is she?
So that's another thing as well. Like, it's obviously been recognised by games as well that women on like FIFA and stuff. Women's football's now on FIFA. I think it's only been on since last year, and
it's huge. Yeah,
I thought that was a really big milestone for them. But I'm just surprised it took this long to get it on there, really. But again, that's just showing
better late than never.
It can happen. And as long as people believe in themselves and believe in the game and what they can achieve and their team can achieve, then that's the main thing. Like, they can just move on and go forward and ignore all the people that disagree, or or just have horrible things to say about it. And they can just prove people wrong. And I think that's so powerful in its own right.
I completely agree.
On my own or with this team, and if I hadn't done it in the first place, then I wouldn't have known any different. I kind of wish I took my own advice sometimes, but it's just
this is exactly what it's about. Like, obviously, like you say, you wish that you took your advice. Hopefully someone's listening in, and if they want to get their daughter or even themselves involved, then they'll listen to your advice and hopefully they'll take it as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think I'd be as much into football without my brothers, to be fair, my dad.
Yeah, my dad and my brothers are a big influence as to why I'm so passionate about it as well.
So I kind of thank them for it in a way, which sounds really weird. I probably could have found it on my own, but I don't think I'd be as into it as I was without their input and sort of encouragement. And obviously they're the ones that asked if I wanted to go to games, and they're the ones that encourage me to go to games with them and say, oh, do you fancy watch this game? And obviously I'm like, if I'm available, then yes, definitely, please. I think as long as you go into that like game as a fan, and you're with people that support you and support your like love of football, then it's easier. And I think you can obviously discuss the game with them and stuff afterwards, which is really nice and things. So I think it does help.
Yeah, definitely. Like I'll try explaining things to my daughter, and obviously she's 5, so she understands the basics. If I'm like, oh yeah, we've won, she gets really excited. But if I was to go into like tactics and talk about like how we won, or even just naming players to her, it goes right over her head at the minute. So it is nice to have that kind of that social aspect where you have got like another adult that you can communicate with about the sport and stuff.
I use it as like a talking point to actually get to know people as well.
I do. Yeah.
So I'm like, if I've met somebody, so like, I don't know, in a bar or cafe or something, and they like start talking to me, and then we just start talking around stuff and likes and dislikes. So I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm actually really into football. And then at first, especially if they're guys, they'll look at you like, okay. And then once you start saying, oh yeah, but I've been to this ground, you know, these are my favorite players. Oh, I was around when this player was there and all this stuff. And they're like almost like mind blown that you know all this information about football.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time they're like, wow, that's really cool, like, and impressed by it. And over time it's like, I'm not really sure what to make of this situation. Like, why does she know so much about it? And obviously that's the whole like mindset of people thinking, oh, women don't know this, that, or the other about football. But sometimes I feel like I know more than other people do. And I've been to more games than they have in grounds and stuff. And I quite like that sort of
it's nice to kind of have that confidence about yourself as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It probably sounds a bit boastful, but you know.
No, honestly, go for it. If you're honestly, if you've got a passion about something, I say go for it. Like I used to I think it was maybe 2 seasons ago. Yeah, it was 2 seasons ago now. I used to have my own podcast, and I would do this every week, or I would channel hop. So like my friends who they have their own podcasts and stuff, like I would go onto theirs, and sometimes, oh my gosh, I'd be on like maybe 3 podcasts a week, and I would have absolutely no idea what we're going to talk about. I would just be on and they just throw stuff at me, and you know, you just come out with it, you just say your opinion. And that's one thing that I used to love, like just being able to actually communicate with someone and just have that kind of that talk with them. It's really nice, isn't it? I think it's quite refreshing as well, especially when like friends don't have that kind of that interest what you do, like being able to talk to people who do have that common ground with you. I think it's a big breath of fresh air. Yeah, it's really nice. Oh, 1 second. Let me just click on. I keep changing the little banner thing at the bottom, but I thought I'll put this one on. So for anyone who is just listening and not watching, it says this podcast is brought in collaboration with Hull and Back Podcast to spread awareness about what the campaign entails. Hair Game 2 aims to eradicate sexism within sport. Comment any questions. So that basically just sums up really like what we're doing here. And as it states, obviously, if anyone wants to get involved or does have anything that they kind of want to add, or if they have any response to anything that either myself or Abby have said on this, like by all means, put your opinions in the comments below, or you can email me directly if you want to get involved. This is something that I am going to be making either a fortnightly thing or like a monthly thing. I've not yet decided, but we're going to hopefully go into live streaming one day when it comes to it. But at the minute, we're just kind of going to do pre-recorded. Obviously, it kind of works better with availability, especially since I've got like 2 little children who just run riot about the house. So I try and do my streams when I don't have them around. But yeah, if anyone wants to get involved, by all means, email me at kirsthgt@gmail.com, or you can get in touch with the Hull and Back podcast, and the guys on there can either pass things along or they can help get things organised as well. But yeah, I just want to say like a massive thank you, Abby, for coming on. Hopefully you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I know that's been interesting.
Yeah, it's been nice being able to talk to you and hear your side of it, and like getting your perspective as well about being a woman within the sport. But yeah, I do mean it as well, like if ever you do want to come to a game, or if ever you've got any away games or anything like that in mind and your brother or your dad can't attend, by all means, pop me a message. Away games I don't tend to do quite a lot of. I'm going to hopefully do the Luton game. I don't know if you'll be going to that one.
I don't know when that is. I think
it's in May. I think it's after the Kings King.
Okay, yeah, I might go to that then. I've got like I can't go to any games in April because I've got like 2 weddings in 1 week. So
Oh
it's
wow.
been a busy month for me, April. So I can't go to the game on the 22nd or the 29th.
Yeah.
But hopefully I'll be able to get to one before the end of the season because it's going to be a long wait otherwise until I come up to
Yeah.
in person. I know we've got the Euros and stuff to watch on TV, but it's not quite the same, is it?
No, it's always good when you can watch your club.
Definitely.
But yeah, if ever you want to come up and you can get here, by all means, swing me a message or Jeff or Amy or Bobby, and if we're available, we're more than happy. But chances are I'm literally free pretty much every home game. There's always seats, obviously barring this Rotherham game, there's always seats available, and you're more than happy to sit with me and my daughter. And you'll be happy as well to know it's obviously within the family stand, we do sit quite near the bottom as well. We're not even near the middle of our row. We are pretty close to the pitch because my daughter's the same. Like she's very small for her age, and she doesn't like when everyone gets up and they start clapping and stuff, or like even if I start like singing or shouting, she's like mummy, and I'm like, oh sorry. So yeah, you're more than welcome to join us.
That'd be great. Thank you so much.
Oh no, it's all right. And yeah, just a massive thank you to anyone who has tuned in, who has even listened this far, and a big shout out to the guys at the Hull and Back channel for giving us this platform, and again to my amazing team at Hair Game 2 for just making all of this happen. So yeah, thank you all very much.